I know we're not supposed to play Oppression Olympics, but I had to say this one thing. A lot of times when I talk about racial relations with South Asians, a lot of them express that they feel that they are the most oppressed group. Like if there's a totem pole of race and racism, they are at the bottom. And I completely disagree with this, and I want to explain why. I agree that South Asians are definitely in an interesting place when it comes to race. The racism that we can see against Asians in general, but specifically South Asians, is very explicit. People just seem to be very comfortable with being racist towards Asians, and I think the reason why is because they are not the untouchable minority. I call Black people the untouchable minority because this is the race that you are taught to never speak about. This is the race that racism is centered on. This is the race that we talk about the most. Because historically, race was created and popularized to demonize Black people. The idea of race was created and popularized in America to demonize Black people to justify slavery. And then more and more minorities started to immigrate here and had to sort of fit their way into the totem pole. But at the end of the day, the system is structured off of anti-Blackness. That is the foundation of racism. Every other race is scrutinized based on their proximity to Blackness or away from it. But when we talk about racism, because Black people are the foundation of racism, this is the one that we know not to touch. Like, what is a racial slur? Everyone knows the N-word. Like, I remember in middle school, they used to play this game in the bus where they would point to something that was Black, like someone's backpack, and be like, what color is that? And everyone would just shut up because they couldn't say the word Black. Because it's like almost scary. Like, that is the race that has faced the most oppression in this country. Like, in America, these are the people who experience the most racism. And that's where we see when people want to be racist or edgy, they usually shift to the lighter forms. People tend to stick to other minorities who have not had such a large history of racism against them in this country. For these people, it just feels less extreme and less of a big deal. Well, it all just kind of like falls into place and makes sense. And you can see, what levels of racism there are in this country based on like the tangible effects of it. In this country, we're going to see like disproportionate rates of unaliving, deaths, etc. towards Black people. We're going to see like the most extreme groups target Black people. When it comes to like the lighter forms of racism, like name calling, slurs, etc., we will see those directed towards other races and other minorities. Racism towards Black people is ingrained in how we talk, how we act, in every facet of our system. It is literally happening all the time, but we have taught ourselves as we progress to not speak about it so much. Because it is the worst form, we have created like this educational system and this very surface level, push against racism. But because other races have never really experienced the extreme amount of hatred that Black people have in this country, it's almost just easier to pick on them. Less stakes, if you will. So it makes sense why a lot of South Asian people, because of the name calling that they get, feel that they are the most oppressed minority. But I just think that that is a very surface level way to look at the situation.